Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Aunt Debbie's Boutique. Today we're going to be making a wristlet that we can carry our cell phone in and credit cards and change. It's going to be a little bit bigger than the wallet we made last week. So what you're going to need, we have a lot more supplies this time. I have made this template and it is 19 inches tall and it is 8 inches across. And I put a fold at 3.5, then 2.75, 2.75, 3.25, 2.75. It was 3.5, not 3.25 down here. 3.5, 2.75, 3.5, and then we have 4.5 left. I think that's right. And I will have a template on my Etsy store. I probably won't charge anything for it if they'll let me sell something for free, but just something that you can download. Okay, we're also going to need a zipper. We didn't put a zipper in the wallet, the first wallet we made a week ago, but we're going to venture out and put a zipper in this one. We did put one in the advanced video later in the week. You're going to need 2 pieces of outside fabric. I picked this cute Minnie Mouse print that is 6 inches by 9 inches. It's going to go this way, so if you have a directional print. And we need 2 pieces of lining fabric, which is also 6 inches by 9 inches. This is the piece of fabric we're going to use for our card slot, which is 19 by 6. We're going to need a D-ring and a hook for our wristlet. Then I like to use this double-sided tape for putting my zipper in, holding it in place. This is a little wider than I like to use, but it was all that was available when I went to get some. So I'm going to cut it down the middle when I use it. But I'll link some of this below. I believe the brand I really like is called Wonder Tape, and it's already narrow enough. We're going to need, let's see, what happened to my, there. We need a 16 by 3 inch piece for our wristband. And we need this didn't look long enough. Might have cut it longer. Or maybe this one's too long. That may be what the problem is. Yeah, this one's too long. I'll cut that down. And we'll need a 1.5 inch piece of stabilizer for it. I'm using 911 FF by Pellon. We need 2 pieces of stabilizer for the body of our purse, and I made it 5.5 by 8.5 because we want to allow room for our seam allowances. And we need a piece for our card pockets, and I made it 18.5 by 7.5. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I want to do is adhere, iron this a little bit, adhere the stabilizer to the back of all my pieces. And you'll notice it's cut about 1/4 inch smaller on all sides. So we don't have too much bulk in our steam. I'm sorry, I don't need steam on this. And we just want to hold the iron in place. To fuse it on, follow the manufacturer's instructions on whatever type of stabilizer you use. Got a thread underneath there. Okay, we've got our card pocket done. I'm going to turn it over on this side and iron it too. For the body, we want to adhere this to the outside pieces, not the lining. And make sure you put the sticky side down or it'll stick to your iron, and that's a real mess. Ask me how I know that. It's the bumpy side that goes down. Okay, if you watched the advanced video last week, we also did a wrist strap. And what we want to do is just fold it in. That's why we had a smaller piece of interfacing for this. We want to fold it in to our edge of our interfacing. On both sides. And they should be almost touching each other, if not touching. Now we're going to turn it and fold it in half. And I'm going to give it a little steam. Okay, I'm going to take this and my hardware over to the sewing machine and we will fix up our wrist strap. Okay, I am using a dark colored thread, a size 11 needle, and my stitch length is on 2.5, and I'm going to stitch real close to the edge. I'm going to do it on this side. Now down the other side. Okay, now that we're at the sewing machine, let's go ahead and sew our hardware in. First of all, we want to cut off about a 2-inch piece that's going to go on the purse side and connect to our D-ring. So that's about 2 inches right there. See if we can get our D-ring in here. Yeah. And now I'm going to sew it as close as I can to that ring. Okay, we will lay this aside. It is going to go on the wallet side. Then we're going to take the hook and place it on the strap. This hook spins. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to wrap it around, making sure it doesn't get twisted, and I'm going to stitch just a small seam right here on the edge. Okay, now then, I want to turn my hook around this way and take it right close to that seam. I'm sorry, the hook needs to go the other way. Turn it so the seam's on the inside and right next to the hook, and then we're going to sew across here so that our seam is hidden inside there. Again, go forward and backwards. Now we should have a nice, sturdy wristband for our purse. We're back at the cutting table, and we have our strap made and the part that it fastens to, the D-ring. Now let's work on our card pocket. Okay, I am going to lay my template down and mark all the dark lines that I made. I made this on grid paper because I thought it might be easier to see, but probably not. Okay, then I'm gonna go over to this side and do the same thing. I'm gonna draw my lines so I can see where to fold this. And if they're off slightly, I'll adjust them as I go. It's pretty easy to do. Okay. Now this can get a little confusing, but take it slow and it'll make sense. I'm going to fold this up on that line. Then we're just going to fold this like an accordion. Okay, sorry, we dropped a little bit of footage, ran out of SIM card. So what I did is I folded this up, then like an accordion, folded this down, and ironed each step. Folded it like this, and you can see we have about a 1/2 inch there, about a 1/2 inch here. We want to stair step those. 1/2 inch. That looks like slightly more than a 1/2 inch, but it's okay. And then on the last one, we fold it over I had some extra fabric sticking out from the back, and I just trimmed it so it's all one size. Then we measured over 4 inches from each side and drew a line down the middle. Now what I'm going to do is take this to my sewing machine. I'm going to top stitch each of the rows, each of the card pockets to hold them in place. Then this piece that we had folded first I'm going to stitch right down the middle of this too to divide it into 2 sets of card pockets. Then I'm going to fold this over and stitch it no more than 1/4 of an inch. If we stitch it too much, our pockets will be too short for our cards. So let's take this to the machine and do that. Now you'll notice I did not stitch this top one that we're folding over to the back. We will stitch that later. But now I'm going to turn it with right sides together. I'm going to pin it. I'm going to pin it from this side, making sure my corners match up. And I'm going to stitch no more than 1/4 of an inch on each side. I'm also going to stitch part of the bottom, just a couple of inches in on each side. Now let's trim it pretty close to our seam. Clip our corners. I didn't make a very big seam. And turn it right side out so we can top stitch that last fold at the top. Okay, let's take it back over to the ironing board and get it ready to put inside of our wallet. Okay, we're back from this sewing machine. Let's get this turned out nice and pretty. Get our corners nice and square. And we're also going to fold over the bottom part that needs to be stitched. Give it a really good steam. Okay, I've got our seam folded in there. And this is our card pockets. The back pocket is going to be for putting cash in, or your cell phone, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to take one of our lining pieces and we're going to center this. I'm just eyeballing it. I hope it comes out okay. Now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch down, around, and back up. I'll be right back. Okay, we have our pocket stitched down now. Seam it real good. I think my yellow chalk mark you can still see. Now then, let's go ahead and make the lining. Wait, no, we're not. We're going to do the zipper. I forgot we were putting the zipper in here. Okay, I always like to have a zipper that is longer than I need, and then I will trim it off after I get it installed. That just gives me plenty of breathing room. So because we're doing a lined bag, I'm going to open this all the way up. I guess it doesn't matter which way it goes because she's going all different directions, but if there's a directional print, you want to make sure that you have it going the right direction. I'm going to take a piece of this two-sided tape to help me out. And because this one is so wide, it's also very sticky. I'm going to cut it down the middle as best I can. Boy, it's hard to come loose from that. Okay. Now I want to think about this. This is going to be our front, and we want our pocket in the back. So we're going to flip this over and center it on our zipper. You want your zipper up, facing up, and when it's closed, you want the pull at this end. I want to put this two-sided tape very close to the edge. And I'll pull off the top layer and leave the sticky part on there. And it doesn't have to be exactly centered, just in the middle somewhere, because we're going to trim off the edges of our zipper that is too big. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over on this side, and I'm going to do the same thing. place my zipper tape, my two-sided tape, close to the edge of the zipper. Pull off the top layer. And then I'm going to place this on this side. Okay, I'm going to cover that zipper so that's sticky. Okay, now we are going to put our zipper foot on our machine, and our zipper foot will look something like this. It's adjustable, so you can adjust your needle to either side, but this helps you be able to sew right up next to the teeth on this zipper. And that's what we want to do. So I'm going to take it back over to the machine. I'm going to change my foot out, and then we'll stitch on the zipper. Now you can see, if you push down the zipper teeth, you can feel it. And we're just going to stitch right close to it. Now then, we're going to open it back up and pull both sides away from the zipper. I'm going to give it a quick steam press. And now I'm going to come in here and top stitch both of these back away from the zipper. Now it's time to do the other side. So I have cut some more of this tape. Make sure it's pressed down good. Peel off the top layer. And we want our other piece of fabric. I'm trying to keep this where you can see it. And we want to make sure we line it up with our first piece, so we have the zipper in the same place on both pieces. Okay, our zipper's in place. Now we're going to flip it over and we're going to put our zipper tape on the back, but I see I don't have it perfectly straight here, so we want that to be straight. Now, let's put another piece of tape on the back side of the zipper. Pull that off, and with our pockets facing down and lining it up with the rest of the fabrics, we now have it put in place like we need. So let's stitch on this side. Okay, some of that tape was sticking to my machine. Now, we're going to fold everything back and iron that real quick and top stitch it. Okay, we're ready to top stitch this side. Okay, let's go back over to the ironing board and see where we go next. Okay, we have the two sides of our zipper sewn in. We can zip it up and see how nice that's going to be. So putting in a zipper wasn't that difficult, was it? That tape makes all the difference in the world. Okay, this is the inside of our bag with our pockets. What we're going to do next is cut out a little square. And we want to cut out about an inch. And I want to cut these separately. An inch on each corner. But we don't want to cut into our pocket. So make sure you leave just a little room there, about a 1/4 inch from that seam. Now, we're going to open this up. Okay, here's something very, very important. You want your zipper here in this part, the pull of your zipper. You don't want it off the edge because we're going to be cutting that part off. And you also want it partially, no, it doesn't matter if it's partially open. We're going to leave part of the lining open. Before I pin this, we need to put our piece for our strap. So we're going to put it about here, close to the top. It doesn't matter which side you put it on, whichever makes more sense to you. But I'm going to put it right here. This is a lot harder to pin through than it is to stitch through. Yeah, I got that even. And you're going to want to make sure these line up at the top as closely as possible. We're going to be sewing through that thick zipper. But it will do it. Now we're going to sew down this side, sew down this side, sew down here, and we're going to just sew about 2 inches on each side of this. So let's go back to the sewing machine. Okay, I thought I had all my camera issues resolved, but apparently not. The camera by the sewing machine is still shutting down for no apparent reason, so you didn't get to see me stitch this. But I ripped out a seam that I did so I could turn it back wrong side out and show you what I did. We stitched down each side and across the outside fabric here, and we just stitched about 2 inches on each end of the lining fabric, and this is what I ripped out so I could show you this. I then took our corners and folded them together and stitched across all 4 corners, just like we did when we made the coloring bag. When I stitched over the little attachment for our wristband, the little tab, I went over it and back stitched over it and over it again, just so it would stay. Now we need to cut off our excess zipper. You want to cut just as much as we can of that off. Okay. Now we're ready to turn it right side out. And I'm going to go back now and stitch back in this seam that I ripped out. But we just fold it together and stitch across this. It's going to be on the inside. It's not going to be seen. But we just want to stitch close to the edge. So let me do that real quick. Okay, I've stitched that closed. And now we're going to get it turned all correct. We're going to poke the lining down inside our little bag or wallet, and poke out all of our corners. And this is the hardest one to get poked out, but it'll come. It's just that extra zipper tape that's in there. That's why we want to cut the zipper as close as we can to our seam. But we don't want to cut it so close it comes out. Okay, now we can zip our bag up. I want to make sure it's down there at the bottom. Good. I'm going to iron it. And then let's put on our wristband. And we have a nice little handy wallet that unzips. You can stick your cell phone in there, or you can, I'm sorry, this is the pocket here. You can put cash there and all your cards here and your cell phone in this side of it. And anything else, any change. And this makes a very nice gift, especially for somebody that's young, as they don't have as much to carry as us old people do. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I'm sorry for the problems we had with the camera a couple of times, but I'm still working on getting all that resolved. And at least I caught it in time to back up and refilm it. If you're new to the channel, I hope you will like and subscribe. It helps me bring more videos to you. Our projects are purposely simple, even though this one seemed a little more involved. If it was too much for you, you could leave out the pockets, the card pockets, and just make it without that. And you could even make it without the wristlet if you wanted to. So next on Wednesday, we will do some of the same things, only we're going to make it shaped a little bit more like a wallet than this one looks more like a makeup bag or something, but it still serves the same purpose. And remember, whatever you do, do it to the glory of God. Thank you.